there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about some fantasy books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And that makes me the father, Jim. Great to have you with us again as we do another Wheel of Time episode, continuing our journey through the Shadow Rising.
We're getting
Zach,
there.
yeah, we're making great progress, more or less. We got 3 chapters done in our last one. We're going to do another 3 chapters today. So,
No way.
yeah, we're getting closer to the end than we were before. Duh.
That's how that works.
How you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing pretty well. As luck would have it, I ended up getting a 3-day weekend. I don't work on Monday. So it's...
Why? They just don't want you?
Oh, no, just we work 4-10 schedule. So
that's right.
One of the days of the week I'm off, and it changes. I happen to be off Monday, and I happen to be off next week Monday as well. I get 2 3-day weekends in a row.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, my boss was like, hey, this happened. I don't understand how this happened. That's okay, right? And I was like, yeah, we're fine. That's fine. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm doing well. I had some travel for work the past week. I had a drive over to Salt Lake City and back, which gave me a whole bunch of audiobook time, which was sweet. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And then I had a business meeting in St. Louis, Missouri that I flew for. And that ended up with a lot of time to binge content on Netflix.
What'd you get through?
I got through all of the 100.
Okay.
Finished, it finishes after season 7.
Yeah,
so,
you didn't go like start to finish. You just got through all of what you had left.
Yeah, I had to watch season 6 again so I could watch season 7 because it had been too long and I didn't remember. So I got through all of that. And then I moved on to Stranger Things, where I'm doing the same thing. I needed to rewatch season 3 so I could better enjoy season 4. So I finished all of season 3 and just started. I'm most of the way through episode 1 of Stranger Things season 4.
Gotcha.
Have you watched Stranger Things, Zach?
Seasons 1 and 2. I'll get there eventually, but it just hasn't bumped up high enough on my list to be something I immediately go and watch.
I binged all of season 1 and 2 when I had pneumonia way back at the beginning of the pandemic. When, who knows, maybe I really had COVID, but nobody was testing for it.
When you supposedly had pneumonia, but maybe you had COVID, who knows?
And I got through both those seasons, and then eventually I did season 3. Season 3 is, for me, a real step up over season 2. So I really enjoyed season 3. And being you've only done those first 2, I recommend you do it. And I'm hopeful season 4 will be also very good. People say good things. So I had all that travel, and that's nice. Now I'm home for this week, which is really nice again. But I had an adventure earlier today. You were part of that adventure. It's a twofold adventure. We had our first meeting of the book club with Dragon Riders of Perrin.
The Pernies.
Yes, because we got through the first book. Now we got together, spent an hour online with folks just talking about the book. It was a great discussion.
Oh, yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah. And it was almost done, and poof, all my technology went out.
It was really funny on our end. You disappeared, and we kept talking, and then after a little bit, it's like, did we lose Jim?
Because there was no video. This was just an audio discussion, so we couldn't see anybody.
At that point, I get a text that says, my power's out.
Yeah.
Oops.
We suffered a region-wide blackout. I found out later why. Apparently, there was a car accident that knocked out a power pole and took out the power throughout a whole bunch of neighborhoods. It was out for about half an hour.
So hopefully everyone's okay, but at least you have power now.
And I'm hoping that whatever they did to restore it holds so we can get through this recording.
Fix that will go in and out.
Yep. What are you drinking today, Zach?
I am drinking something that I, spur of the moment, I'm going to try and give a name. Let's call it we're going to call it the Juiced Box.
Okay, tell me more.
Because it's about an ounce of rum, an ounce of dark rum, and then a juice box. I used Capri Sun.
Hey, that's legit. There are recipes that call for that stuff.
No, it's sweet, but has the bite of the rum in there. It actually worked way better than I thought it was going to. So,
all right. I thought about making a wattail earlier today, but then the power went out, and then it's what's going to happen? And finally, I went, screw it. It's hot. I'm just going to have some nice chilled wine. So I have a white blend. This is called Farmhouse White from Pomeroy Cellars. They're a vineyard about 20 minutes north of the house here. And they make some good wines. Mom and I joined the wine club. So we have 2 wine clubs again.
Nice. And notably, you didn't lose power long enough for it to no longer be chilled.
Correct. Kept everything closed until the power came back. We're going to hit 100 today. We don't do that a lot in the Northwest. I know you're like, 100? That would be cool.
That's
nice.
Tuesday, every day.
But it's comfortable in the house. Still, a nice chilled wine feels appropriate today. I want to give update to our followers here on what we're reading. A lot of our people do follow us on Twitter. In fact, that number's climbing, and we had a very trepidatious moment earlier this week when we hit 666. I was like, help, please, somebody. Okay. Yeah, we're in the 670s now. But I didn't check to see who was 666, and is that an evil person? I didn't check that. But... it was like, son of Satan.
Hey, if it happens, it happens,
But if they're on our Twitter account, they know the kinds of things that we're reading, but not everybody is following current, and some people will find these episodes years later, So, hey, what are we reading? All right. I've got a bunch of stuff. This has been a big week for me.
Go for it. You were
traveling stuff.
Yeah, you had plenty of time. You didn't have company that you were entertaining, aka a wife. So,
is that what I do with your mom? I entertain her?
I mean,
let's not touch that one. Okay.
I hope that you talk to her more than just turn around and go read your books.
Actually, these days we're reading our books together. She can't put down
as it's a joint
Crossroads
reading.
of Twilight. I gotta tell you this, okay?
Go for it.
She was griping earlier. No, it was actually last night, but just recently. She was griping about it. I am so sick of this Perrin storyline. Can he just do something?
Way to spoil there.
And I didn't say anything there specific. Come on. And she also had some empathetic comments about the Amerlin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spoiler alert there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, a lot of people get to that point. Well done that you're feeling these things. She also was like, that Egwene, man, I can't stand her right now. And it's so boring. I went, just wait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was entertaining to have those comments. But for my reading, I finished Mark Lawrence's The Broken Empire trilogy. I get why many people rave about it. It was fantastic. Definitely grimdark, definitely harsh stuff, but a really good story. I also, just this morning, finished The Citadel of the Autarch, which is book 4 of the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. So officially finished the Book of the New Sun.
Woohoo!
Bit of a slog for me. But I persevered, got through it. I'm glad I read it. And I am continuing on to the one sequel to it, The Earth of the New Sun. I've just started that book. I'm hoping it kind of makes the rest of it all feel a little better that I read through it all. We are both reading Dragon Quest, book 2 of the Dragon Riders of Perrin, as part of our book club. Complete opposite of a slog. It's just fun, fantasy, sci-fi, sort of.
I mean, it's only this big.
Yeah, that's all. I read something very short. Took me just 24 hours, basically. I read Timothy by Mark Tupou. Now, that's adjacent and connected to Mark Tupou's zombie Fallout series. So it's zombie apocalypse stuff. This book was icky. I've put stuff out in Goodreads and on Twitter about it. I almost stopped reading. It was disgusting.
And gratuitous gross. Icky or?
Oh, yes, at times. And offensive and all on purpose.
Okay.
And the final third of the book helps you appreciate what the author just put you through and why. It's actually pretty masterfully written. I do not recommend that book to anyone who hasn't already read the Zombie Fallout series.
I thought you were going to say to anyone, and I was like, whoa.
But even people who have read the Zombie Fallout series, you don't need Timothy. You might read it. Okay, it's got 2 sequels. I'm not touching those. I'm like, no, I've had enough of this character.
Timothy, Tomothy, and Jimothy.
Yeah. Last thing I've started now just this morning is the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks. You've read that already, I believe.
I've read the first book and some of the second. It is shortly in my TBR to go back to the second now.
Well, I've got all 3 now, and I'm just going to work my way straight through them.
But the first one, very good.
Good. It started off great. I love the perspective. So what are you reading right now, Zach?
So currently I'm still working my way through the Obelisk Gate, second book in this one, Broken Earth trilogy. I finished just a little while back, but when I pointed out on the screen, Lies of Locke Lamora, the Gentleman Bastards series is down there. Great, highly recommend it. I'm about halfway through Heroes Die, the first of the Acts of Cain. And
still enjoying it?
Yes. It's so far. I'm just gonna put this out there. It feels like if you took a book like 1984, Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451, and then also made it sci-fi fantasy, occasionally slightly grimdarky, and put it all in one. So it's really good.
Okay.
In an unexpected way.
All right.
But then, as we were saying, moving through Perrin, starting Dragon Quest here.
Sweet. A lot of fiction getting read. I also dropped on Twitter today. I've now finished 66 books this year. And the 3 that I'm reading right now make 67, 68, and 69. I have not read this many books in 1 year, like probably ever. And thank you, people who follow us, because it's inspiring me to just keep reading so I have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think I'm only at 10.
It's okay. I still love you, son. One of the things that I finished this year was reading through The Expanse. We've got an episode that's going to be coming up on that. It won't include Zach because he hasn't done The Expanse yet.
I'm going to have a couple guests on.
Yeah, I'm going to have a couple guests on. We're going to talk about both the series and the TV show, and it's going to be a fun discussion. So watch for that coming out soon. All right. One last note before we move into today's content. The author of The Broken Empire I mentioned I've read that recently, is Mark Lawrence. He's very interactive on Twitter. When I commented things about it, he was liking my tweets. He was mentioning things. He was retweeting my tweets. He interacted directly with me on some things and gave me another book to read. Mark Lawrence is dude, man. It was great to have so much interaction from that author. So whoop whoop. Shout out for Mark Lawrence.
For the Ages endorsement. Mark Lawrence is a cool Twitter guy.
And I moved up on my TBR some other Mark Lawrence stuff that I have in there and was planning to get to. I'm going to get to sooner now because I really enjoyed The Broken Empire.
All right.
Now,
we're not talking about Broken Empire today.
No, I also really enjoyed The Wheel of Time. So let's talk about Wheel of Time now.
Okay. Where are we starting? What chapter are we in?
Chapter 43, which is called Care for the Living.
Not the dead.
Nope. The dead can care for themselves.
Apparently.
We pick right up after the last chapter. Perrin and his bedraggled and hurting group have arrived at Emond's Field, if you recall. Perrin still has an arrow in his side, pretty poor shape. Perrin is leading Perrin's horse, with him still on it, over to the Wine Spring Inn, and the townsfolk, they have taken over all the other people. You know, they're hugging and kissing and celebrating.
Yeah. Everybody's getting a hero's welcome.
Yeah, the great Trolloc hunters, you know, and that's great. But Perrin is also hearing, as he's pulled away, something that feels like just more arrows striking him. When people are calling, like, "Where's John? Will, where are you, son? Will?" there's all these people who didn't return. You remember how many he lost along the way?
27.
Yeah, about half his group, just over half his group. And so there's dismay, there's sorrow, and he's feeling the weight of that. And
That
in fact,
Spiro in his side, that hurts. But each of those names, that's another dagger.
Just beating him down. And honestly, they get to the Wine Spring Inn, and he collapses off his horse. People catch him, but he's like at that point just so at the end of his what he can take. He just flops off. They help him inside. People are clearly worried for Perrin. Faio wants Varen to help, but she insists, no, like I said in the last chapter, weren't you paying attention, girl? We have to wait for Olanna. She's the stronger healer. Varen says...
Varen can heal, but she's not particularly talented in it.
In fact, she uses the capital T. Her talents lie in other directions. When it uses capital T, what does that mean, Zach?
Usually means this is some sort of special skill. If you want to go heavy spoiler, go check out our magic system where we touch briefly on talents. But with a capital T, it can be power related, not power related, whole bunch of things. But it is something more than just your use of the one power.
Right. Some of the Aes Sedai do have the capital T talent for healing. Maybe Olanna does. That's not really said here, but what is emphasized is Olanna is stronger at healing than Varen is, and Perrin needs a healthy dose. Now, Faio would at least like to get him into a bed, get him resting. And Varen's like, yeah, that'd be a good idea, but Perrin's like, no, got stuff to deal with. He has to address some things. And the first, he's like, where's Loyal? Turns out Loyal is out at the wood line, where they're clearing the trees back away from town.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I'm sure he's probably on his way back now. I mean, someone ran out to tell the guys out there who were felling the trees that y'all had returned. He'll probably be here soon. And they note that Loyal seems pained at every tree that's being cut down. But at the same time, he's helping, and he's got a special Ogier-sized axe, Master Luhan, custom made for him, and he's chopping 3 trees for every one that anyone else can accomplish.
So what I'm hearing is he has a lumber great axe.
He's a Paul Bunyan, man.
That was gonna be my next call out.
Why would Loyal be so pained, though, at cutting down the trees and yet still willing to help?
Because the Ogier, they love trees. They're tree people. They grow trees. They have a love for growing things. They sing to the trees and help them grow.
Yep.
Especially their groves and their grape trees.
But he's still
neither
helping.
Of which are here, but still.
Why is he still chopping trees then?
Because as much as it pains him to do it, he's a good guy, Loyal. He's loyal to Perrin and these Two Rivers people, and he knows that this is necessary.
The threat is real, and he'll do what he can to help. Yep. Perrin also inquires about Lord Luke. Not that he really cares anything about Lord Luke. But from the conversation, we get the clear picture. Perrin suspects Luke was behind the Trolloc ambush.
As do we.
I mean, he did suspiciously decide to leave rather than help them face the Trollocs they were going to find.
Plus, Perrin just doesn't like him because he seems kind of oily and always after his girl. So
yeah, the dude sucks. Arrogant twit. Yeah. So Perrin would be more than happy to see him turn out to be a bad guy. 3 of the Emond's field boys are in the... Oh, I'm jumping out of order on my notes. Got to go back. Didn't finish with Luke. What did he learn about Luke? Well, he learns Luke was in Emond's field just yesterday, which suggests he couldn't have been behind the Trolloc ambush. Why not?
Because it's too much of a distance. He was seen during that time. I don't agree with that statement. I'm like, why
Stick
not?
around for the spoiler room and maybe someone will talk about it.
I mean, if you weren't hampered by injuries and stuff, it only took Perrin these little bit of time, and they stopped with the traveling people. So, I mean, really, it seems like a weak alibi.
Now, talking about what's in the common room with them. Okay, there's a whole bunch of weapons. They basically converted the common room into the armory. Anybody who had an old tool or something, they put it in there. And hanging out in the room, the armory, with Perrin are, well, Fael and Varen, but also 3 of the Emond's Field boys who had kind of helped him in and stayed around. And these boys, they're a little starstruck as they look at Perrin. They're just a little younger than him, but he has a conversation with them. And we learn from this conversation a few things. One, Lord Luke led some of the less desirables of the village, also known as...
the Coplans, the Congars,
their type, out a few miles away from Emond's Field and confronted a band of White Cloaks. Told them...
confronted.
Got in their face and said, "We don't want you in Emond's Field anymore. You're not welcome. Stay away." Bunch of bluster. I mean, the Children of the Light didn't do anything to bring this on. They just went at them and get lost, scram. You guys suck. We don't need you. That kind of thing.
I mean, that being said, do the Children of the Light really have to do all that much to deserve at least that much?
But Varen and Perrin, in hearing about this, are both in agreement that that wasn't necessary. Okay, I mean, they're annoying as they are, but do you really need to go out looking for trouble, trying to pick a fight practically? Come on. The boys, we learn, have a very rosy perspective on Perrin's experiences since leaving Emond's Field a year ago. And they actually express they wish they'd gone with Perrin, Matt, and Rand. I mean, their heads are full of palaces and Aes Sedai, the White Tower, warders, and Trollocs, and all these adventures.
All those things are true, but also Perrin's still sitting there with a Spiro in his side. Look at that. Ask yourself, how would it feel to have that many times?
The Spiro comes back for another episode.
Oh, it's gonna stay until it's removed.
Yeah, so they've got these ideas, and Perrin is thinking like you are. Guys, you don't understand. Some of this really sucks. Okay, this isn't all such grand adventures.
Yeah, have you ever had to deal with dysentery on the Oregon Trail?
And rattlesnake bites. Rattlesnakes. Did you know you can still play that now? Like, there's a new
think
version.
We talked about it before, possibly on episode.
I think we probably did. Hey, I'm old. You know, it's hard to remember. While Fael, she's amused at these boys and, their wide-eyed naiveness about all these adventures. Perrin's kind of shocked that they're treating him this way and a little annoyed. It's like, what a bunch of idiots. He's also like, was I ever this naive about what the world is really like? I mean, no, it's not fun. It's hard. It's horrific at times. You nearly die. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Perrin's a nice guy. So he does try to answer some of their questions, talk about his experiences. That's what they want to hear. And he tries to make it a little more realistic than the rose-colored glasses they're looking through. And they just don't get it. Especially when he dismisses his role, whatever he had to do with it, plays it down. I mean, from Perrin's perspective, this is completely accurate, but they're still like, Perrin.
Yeah.
Eventually, Fael runs them off. Okay, enough pestering. Humorously, it was at a point in the conversation where they seem to be downplaying Fael as being as wonderful as perhaps she is, and she's like, "That's the point. We cut this off. Okay, you guys can go now."
It's like, it's fine when you're bothering Perrin. When you start to bother me,
yeah, go away. In the meantime, while this was wrapped up and they get shooed away, Tam, Abel, and Loyal have arrived.
What a good group.
Yeah. Perrin shares the critical news with Loyal that the Waygate is unlocked, more Trollocs are arriving.
Yeah, that
Loyal.
sucks.
He's like, oh man, I'm sorry. Because he'd locked the gate from this side by putting both Avendosora leaves on the outside. He's apologizing because that left it so anybody else could still open it from this side.
Yeah.
And
He
knew
reveals, not only did he know that, he could have destroyed the gate. At which point we all go, wait, what?
Sort of. You
Yeah.
couldn't truly destroy it. We learn here
No.
you can
Yes.
destroy a waygate, but it takes a lot of the one power. It's something very hard to do. But he could have allowed the gate to die.
It's
So
the sort of
how
thing
would he
where,
have done that?
Instead of, say, destroying the door, destroying the locks, it's instead taking the keys and destroying those. You just
You don't
take
even
the
have to
leaves
destroy them.
off and just let them wilt away.
Turn them
They'll
into
die.
paperweights, just take them with you.
Yeah.
But he was unwilling to do it. He didn't want to let the waygate die. Why? What's the
For
big deal with
as
that?
horrible as the ways have become, it still has such a deep, rich connection to the Ogier, to the long memories, and this wonderful gift that was given them. And you kind of have to put it in place here. To destroy it would have been quite hasty. And while Loyal is hasty by Ogier terms, he's not by human.
Take this back to what you said about Ogier and trees. Growing things. They have a great love for that. These waygates are actually grown. It's something they do using that gift from the Aes Sedai of the Age of Legends. So we grew these.
Yeah,
We don't want to destroy something we grew. Yeah.
Had he known how dire it was in the Two Rivers, maybe this would have been an option then. But at the time, just walking out, knowing some Trollocs have been through here, maybe we should lock it.
Yeah.
It wasn't really on the radar.
They had no concept somebody would actually, on this side, in the Two Rivers, actively want to open the gate and let more Trollocs in. Didn't even cross their minds.
Not even a little.
So Loyal insists, I'll go take care of this, Perrin. I will take responsibility. I mean, Ogier are responsible for waygates. I'll get it done. And Perrin's like, no, you wait. I got to get this thing, this sparrow. Let me get this healed, and then I'll go with you. Yeah. And as the conversation continues, just a little bit longer, it starts to become apparent Perrin's getting a little loopy. Delirious with fever. He's breaking down from his injury. And Fail notices too. Yeah, she's like, Perrin, we've got to do something. And Perrin's like, I know. Just wait for Alana. And ta-da, Alana's, I'm here. The party can start. So, all right. She has him put out on a table. And let's do it. First thing that's got to be done, we got to get the arrow out. She's like, this is going to hurt.
A lot.
They pull it out. It does a whole mess of more damage to his body. Because we mentioned before, what's the issue with these arrows? Why did they leave it in?
Nasty barbs.
Yeah. It's designed that if you try to pull it out, it'll kill you.
Which, to me, was one of two things. Depending on how deep it was, why not push it through? And two,
it's a spear.
Yeah, if it had already gotten
spear through you,
if it already got most of the way through him, and then you break off most of the wood, like pushing through is a more viable option. That being said, using fletching to kind of mess with the barbs, better option. Also harder to do if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, but she's got magic powers, so rip it out and then zap him with the healing. That's exactly what happens, and Perrin is left unconscious.
Yeah, the downside is a lot of that energy, like with all healing we've talked about before, comes from the person being healed. And Perrin didn't have a whole lot of energy to start with.
But he is an ox of a man, so there's enough in there for the healing to take place.
He's not dead, he's just unconscious.
Out. Yeah. And that's the end of the chapter, because Perrin doesn't know anything else, and it was his point of view. So, chapter 44 is called The Breaking Storm. And it sees Perrin waking up. He's in a comfortable bed. He recognizes his surroundings as the wine spring in, and he discovers, I'm healed.
It's a miracle. Well,
Yay!
it's a nice to die.
He also, as he tries to get himself up, realizes, and I'm weak as a newborn kitten. I got nothing. Fail sees him. She's been sitting there keeping an eye on him, and as soon as he starts to try to get up, she's like, nope, hey, rest. You need to regain your strength. Alana said it's going to take time. I want you staying in this bed, Perrin, 2 or 3 more days.
You are effectively healed, but if you think of it in terms of the actual injury, if you actually had to heal from that, that's maybe 2 months of time in a bed, getting proper care. The muscle atrophy alone, it takes a couple days to start regaining in some therapy, working on that strength.
And I'm only asking 2 or 3 more days. Come on. Other things we learn in the conversation then is Loyal and Gall are gone. They didn't tell anyone where they were going.
The loyal
left.
Gall of them.
Perrin is like, oh, dang it, they went to the Waygate. I told them not to go without me. Which makes him just want to get up again. And she's like, no, don't. Stay in bed. And now he gets out anyways. Now, as he gets out of bed, he realizes he's naked. He sees his clothes happen? All the way on the other side of the room. And instantly his mind goes to, nice try, Fail. You know, if I'm naked, you're thinking I won't get out of bed because I'd be naked, and you're sitting right there. Nah, he drops the blanket, walks right across, butt naked, and starts putting his clothes on. He knows
that you have no shame, and you would like to see him naked, so he's gonna do this because he's stubborn.
Fail argues with him as he's putting his clothes on. You need rest. You need to get back into bed. And in fact, she tries to stop him putting his clothes on. She tries to block him from leaving the room. He pushes past her, goes to the stairs to head down to the common room, and she's like right underfoot, trying to resist him. But Fail's small. He's a big man. What she does accomplish is to get his feet tangled up. So he's already kind of weak. As he tried to step down the stairs, she kind of trips him, and they tumble down the stairs together.
Thanks, Fail. You did a great job of keeping him from hurting himself.
As he's laying on his back on the bottom of the common room floor, he's like, okay, ow. I don't think anything's broken. I got bruises everywhere, so much for that healing.
Are you broken, Fail?
Exactly, Fail, because she's laying right on top of him. And just, like, unconscious. And he's like, Fail! And she's like, I'm fine. But you're not going anywhere. And she's not getting off him.
Just dead weight.
Get off of me. No, you need to stay. Okay, so arguing with him still. And in the midst of that argument, Marin Alvear walks in. Now, I want to talk about that in a moment, but before I move past this argument they're having, I want to ask you a question. Because Fail has a point. She says to him, literally, dude. Well, she doesn't say dude. That's my word. But
dude,
you can't do everything. Okay? You want to run off to the Waygate now. No. Even if you had the strength for it, you shouldn't run off to the Waygate. She has a point. And Perrin doesn't get the point. What would her point be, Zach?
See, here's the problem. Perrin has a hero complex, but not a traditional one. Not the one that, oh, I need to be the hero. I need to save the day. The glory is all mine. It's my job. No. But more, it's my fault. Everyone else has been roped into this because of me. I have a duty to take care of this, to take care of these people. I need to do this. I. It's all Perrin-centric. And so the idea of letting other people take care of things because he physically can't is out of his book. It's something that he's like, nope, it's not a possibility. I have to do it. But he needs to not. So he needs to be able to trust the people who do want to help.
True leadership is delegating, empowering others. Like you said, trust them to be able to carry on. You don't have to do it all yourself. He's not thinking of himself in leadership terms, though. Fail sees his potential. She sees a leader when she looks at Perrin. He sees a blacksmith when he looks in the mirror.
And to be perfectly honest, he sees a blacksmith. She sees the potential for her Wolf King.
Yes. So, still in that position, when the mayor's wife walks into the room out of the kitchen, she heard this down the stairs. She's like, "What in the world?" And Fael leaps off, blushing, because this kind of looked inappropriate. Like they're playing a kissing game on the floor. Fael quickly explains, No. I was just trying to tell him he needed to get back in bed. He can't be up and doing stuff. He needs to strengthen. Marin gets it pretty quick and says, Fael, you gotta understand this about men. You can't tell them you must do this, you mustn't do that, because they'll just be stubborn mules and do what they want anyways. You need to guide them. You need to manage them properly. No, Perrin doesn't think much of this, but I wanted to ask, what did you think of this?
I don't love the way it's talked about, but to a certain extent, it's not wrong. I just think it applies to people in general, not just men. In this case, it is specifically talking about Two Rivers men, which are the stubbornest of the stubborn. But you tell someone not to do something, or they can't do something, they start doing it just out of spite. It's not about whether or not they want to do that in the first place anymore. It's that you told them no. So if you want someone to actually do what you want, she's right. You have to kind of go that semi-manipulative route. It can be a dangerous, slippery slope of being manipulative and controlling. But at the same time, if you're just nurturing in a way of actually caring about them, it's better than to their face saying, no, you can't do that.
Right. So in the midst of explaining this, then Marin goes on to try to demonstrate. And Perrin wants to get going, and she's like, oh, of course, Perrin, of course. But wouldn't you perhaps, feel better if we could get a mattress right here and you could rest here a little bit? And if someone comes in and needs something, you can talk to them then. But you really do still need some rest. I mean, let me help you. Let me get your mattress down here for you. And
Marin,
she's not giving him what he wants.
Very well when A, he's already worked up, and B, you just told him in front of his face what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's like when they were talking to them to each other about him. It's like he's not there. This happens again and again in the Wheel of Time, particularly with the women. When they talk about men, and they talk about what they're going to do with the men, and the men are standing right there. I swear, Matt Cawthon runs into this a whole bunch of times. We've seen that already in these books. Hello, I'm right here.
Matt has a number of times here and there where he kind of turns the tables on that as well and does the other side of it. It's a problem throughout.
Indeed. So, all right. Where are we at then? As this is going on, we hear from outside that common room, outside the building, Trollocs! Trollocs! People are shouting out about Trollocs. And, whoa, okay, that does it. Perrin, he's heading out. There's Trollocs now. I need my horse. And he says it in a different tone. He's very forceful about this now. And Fael, she resigns to support him. And she asks Mistress Elvire to have both their horses brought out.
There's a piece of this that I personally think isn't just a resigning to support him or bending to Perrin, but rather Fael doesn't like being told that she's wrong or going about something wrongly. So she's changing her tactics, but not to what Mistress Elvire just recommended, in a sort of way of going, Mistress Elvire, kindly back up. Yeah. He's my man. I will deal with him as I will.
And she's she's going to support Perrin. He needs to do this, fine. But she's also like, but I'm going to be right there with you, buddy. And you better not push yourself so hard.
Look, nobody talks to her Perrin that way except for her.
Yeah. They have an interchange, right? Perrin and Fail then that humors me a bit. Perrin, when Fail explains, okay, I'm going to support you here, but you are going to stay on your horse. You are going to hear what's going on and then help with instructions. Don't you even think that you are going to do some fighting, buddy boy. So you got that? Are you going to be okay with that? And he's like, fine, all right. I will comply. That makes some sense, Fail.
He needs to help, but he's also very aware he probably couldn't pick up his axe or his blacksmith's hammer right now.
And she says specifically, you need to understand that what the village needs is not you fighting Trollocs. It needs you serving as a general. Okay, you don't like the term general. A leader, okay? Not an active fighter. You need to be the one who inspires them, who is there with them. So, turning up her feminine charm to 11, batting her eyes practically, she's like, so Perrin, please, can you do this for me? Just be a leader for them. He concedes, and she says, good. And if you break that promise to me, I'm going to do to you what you did to me back in the ways in those first days, you remember? What's she referring to?
To the best of our knowledge, a good spanking.
Uh-huh.
We don't have it exactly spelled out, but that's probably it.
Perrin gets the reference, and he's like, yeah, so if I do that, it'd probably be better I'm dead than surviving. She doesn't seem to take that humor very well, but
yeah.
Perrin and Fail get on their horses and make their way out to the edge of town, where people are staring out to the west to the tree line. We hear that what was seen was a Trolloc. Not Trollocs, no, a Trolloc. The people who were out there clearing the trees, they saw a Trolloc. When it was seen, it ran off. So we're told the timbering party. That was the term. I hadn't heard the term timbering party
it's
before.
A party that goes off in timbers.
I guess. Wasn't that
it's going down?
Timber. Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I knew where you were trying to go from the head bob, and I was like, I got you.
Fergie?
No.
And wasn't she part of it?
No.
So it's just that Pitbull?
It's Pitbull, and I believe the featured vocalist, I want to say, is Kesha.
Oh, see, I was thinking
not
Fergie,
positive.
but maybe it's Kesha. Okay. Wow. That was a tangent. All right. Bane and Shiad at this point come running out of the trees, heading quickly to the town, and they report to, of course, Fail. Bad news. There's a party of about 500 Trollocs just a mile or two off. Tomas speaks up. Now, who's Tomas?
The guy who informed you that, yes, it was Kesha. Sorry, I looked it up.
Tomas did not inform me about Kesha.
Anyways,
but thank you.
I couldn't let it be. I needed to know. No, Tomas is Varen's warder.
Okay. He said, yeah, I figured that one Trolloc. Yeah, you're not going to just see one random Trolloc. That was probably one that was part of that group, and it had wandered off to see if it could find a snack. Okay, looking for its own meal, didn't have to share. And once it got caught, it probably ran back to the group, so they all know they've been seen. They're probably going to be attacking soon now. Perrin wants to know, well, why are all these people here? It's like practically out the whole town is out here at the edge gawking at, what? There was a Trolloc? What's going on? It's like, why are they still here then? Why aren't we prepping for battle?
About that.
Yes?
These are Two Rivers folk, Perrin. Who's going to tell them to get ready for battle?
Yvonne speaks up about that. Now, who's Yvonne, and is that how you pronounce it?
Sure, Yvonne's fine.
Some might say Ivan, but that sounded too Russian to me. So.
It just looks wrong for Ivan. The IH really makes it feel like an eh.
There you go.
Uh,
Yvonne.
One of Alana's warders, the other of which is dead.
Yeah, so her only remaining warder. Yeah, he points out exactly what you said. Apparently, these folk of yours, Perrin, they don't listen to outsiders real well. You might want to do something about that. Perrin's like, seriously? Y'all have Aes Sedai here. Now he's thinking this. They hold you in awe. If you literally gave orders, they would hop to it. Why are you waiting for me?
Because they hold you in as much, if not more, awe.
Yeah, but to Perrin, this stinks.
Oh, it does.
He's like, come on. They really could have whipped these people into shape. The fact that they're waiting on him to do it feels manipulative.
Of Perrin's plots.
Yeah. But he doesn't know why. What's their end game? Why are they forcing him into stepping up and doing something? He looks at Fail, and he senses in her eyes she kind of reads the same way. They're leading him to do it.
That being said, you still have to step up. Let or not, it has to happen.
It's time for action. So he moves over to Bran Al'Vir, Tam Al'Thor, and Abel Cawthon, and he states what Bane and the Warders have said, and boom, that triggers activity now. Everybody hops too. They know what to do when there's attack coming. What? Just because Perrin said it. He's like, seriously?
Now, they actually were prepared. They just needed someone to say, do it.
Fail has this figured out, though. She tells Perrin, they are positioning you. The Aes Sedai, they're setting you up to be a leader. That's what this is about. And it's appropriate. I mean, you're born for this, Perrin. He's like, again, he still sees the blacksmith. Now, I would propose Fail may have an ulterior motive to wanting to see Perrin set up as a leader. What do you think, Zach?
It wouldn't hurt to go show her family this successful leader.
That's right.
It also wouldn't hurt for her comfort of life eventually.
It's the difference between bringing home from college your boyfriend who is on track to be a lawyer or your boyfriend who's on track to be a musician.
There's nothing wrong with a musician, but I'm also not a parent, so I may have a different view on that.
Perrin, of course, is dismissive of any Aes Sedai manipulations. He's no leader. I'm a blacksmith, darn it. He's got a little Bones, McCoy. I'm a doctor, not a... Yeah. But he's the guy who's going to do what needs to be done because somebody's got to do it. That's his thing. Okay, I just triggered a thought in your head, so I want to let it out.
Little side anecdote that I think you'll enjoy at least. So Rachel and I have been watching through Bones, right?
Yes.
The show. Great show. We're in season 3 now.
Lead actors named...
You
were going to give me the character.
That was Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz.
There you go.
I'm not great at actor names, but I got it.
You got it?
Sorry, she's just always Bones to me. Point is, Bones, the nickname. And we also had recently finished The Boys and watched Lord of the Rings. And so I mentioned Carl Urban also being Bones. She gave me the blankest look. I had her able to name every original series main cast character. She named all of them and still gave me a blank look on who's Bones. She got all the others.
And she has gaps. She still has gaps. Keep working at it, Zach.
When I showed her a picture then of Carl Urban playing Bones in the more recent movies,
she's like, oh!
She knew who that was, but also went, that's Carl Urban?
He is a very versatile actor.
Oh, yeah. Just look at a picture of all his roles. Mm-hmm. Totally drastically different. It's amazing.
He has so owned his role in The Boys. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, man. Wow. And you're dark, dude.
I very much enjoy it, especially knowing that's not him as a person.
No. But yeah, he owns it.
Anyway, that was an aside, but I thought it was fun.
The joy is in the asides. Absolutely. So, Perrin, again, I mentioned dismissing Aes Sedai manipulations. Part of that remains rooted in the fact that he distrusts at a very deep level Aes Sedai. That's something he grew up with. He has not let go of it. And his experiences over time with the Aes Sedai he has spent time with has done nothing to change his opinions. As the preparations then fall into place, Perrin is surprised at another occurrence. All those young men who had traveled with him and survived on the Trolloc hunt, they've decided to become his bodyguard. They all show up.
The honor guard, if you will.
Yeah, they've been healed. Okay, so there's no injuries left anymore. But they all come out with their bows and make a big circle around Perrin and Fael. They're ready to defend him. And one of them's holding a banner, a smaller version of that wolf head banner that's on a big post in the center of town. He's like, what the heck?
Hey, when Two Rivers folk get an idea in their head, good luck changing their mind.
It doesn't help that one of them mentions, yeah, one of the Aes Sedai made that smaller banner version. It's like, you see, there they go again, manipulations. He would dismiss them outright, but Fael's right next to him. He's like, well, if the Trollocs do come, wouldn't hurt to see her better protected. But of course, as he looks at her, he's thinking, yeah, and she looks more like she'd be ready to protect me instead of the other way around.
Also, make sure you don't tell her that's your reasoning, because then she might stick you.
Yes. Preparations completed. It comes to waiting. And time just seems to crawl. Nothing happening. Where are the frickin' Trollocs? It's not like they want the Trollocs, but they know they're coming, and it's just taking forever. But finally, a line of Trollocs appears coming out of the trees with 3 Myrddraal behind them, seemingly driving them forward, and they burst out, charging towards the town. Some nervous doofuses with their bows let off arrows that fall well short because they've cleared these trees way back. And Tam is like, what the heck are you doing? Stop it! And then Tam turns to Perrin and says, at 300 paces? Perrin, nods his assent, but internally he's like, what the heck? You're asking me?
I don't know. You do.
You're the one who drilled these people. You know what you're doing. Why are you asking me? But when they reached that distance, which is about half the distance from the woods, Tam gives the order. Arrows go flying. A couple of catapults chunk their rocks at them, too.
Nice.
And this all just keeps repeating until the Trollocs are done. They take them all out. Even the Myrddraal are down. There's one of them still, wandering around, barely cognizant.
Yeah,
like
he'll
a
still be
pincushion.
kicking until the sun goes down, and then he'll actually be dead.
And victory! And the people start shouting and cheering, and you hear, golden eyes! Golden eyes! Perrin golden eyes! They're giving him all the praise. And he's like, I didn't do anything. All I did was literally go, to one thing. I gave my assent. But it's his victory.
I gotta say, this does show the effectiveness of a bunch of well-trained archers on an open field.
Yeah.
None of the Trollocs break through, really.
Nope. As the majority of the townspeople are celebrating, Perrin does note that Tam and the warders, they're not partying. They're staring out over the field of battle still. They're looking at something. And so Perrin does too. And he comments, these fades, they had to have known this wasn't going to work. There weren't nearly enough Trollocs to reach us. And Tomas hears Perrin say that, and he compliments him. He's like, you're absolutely right. Well done. This was a test. They were just testing our defenses. And a few of these Trollocs probably escaped back into the woods. They'll have carried word of what just happened here. There's going to be another attack.
This was intended to kill most, if not all of them.
Yeah, there's going to be a much bigger attack coming. Probably not today, but they will be back, and they know what we have now. There'll be no surprise anymore. They're going to prepare specifically for what we do.
The wonderful, terrible thing here, yes, a Trolloc or two probably made it out. They don't even need to. They could just have a bird sitting there that got away. That would be enough.
If the Dark One specifically was manipulating that.
I mean, ravens can report back to Myrddraal. That comes back out of the eye of the world, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember anything like that.
I believe we've had word that it does need to actually get back to relay that message, which is why you shoot down ravens.
To a Myrddraal. Well, listeners, if you know we're right or wrong, let us know. Now, Perrin, he's fearful of what this could mean. An attack, a bigger attack. What if there's like 10,000 Trollocs out there? We won't stand a chance. We stop this little bunch, but Perrin speaks up. No. There's no way they have that many Trollocs out here because they've been coming through the ways, but Mock and Shin. Okay, you can't just bring an army of 10,000 Trollocs through the ways. Mock and Shin would eat them. Okay? Mm-hmm. They've been doing this in little clumps, sneaking through, because they got to deal with that just like anybody else would.
But that being said, if you're sending groups of 50 and only 20 make it, but you send it over and over and over and over,
it adds up. So yes, there's a large group out there, but we're not talking 10,000. But we don't really know how many. At this point, there's a clamor from the south side of town, near the old road. And Perrin's like, what? It wasn't supposed to happen yet. There shouldn't be another battle. And rushes his horse off in that direction, Fael following as the chapter ends. One more chapter today. 45 is called The Tinker's Sword.
Well, that's an oxymoron.
This is a significant chapter. Because the other two were just trash and didn't mean anything.
Totally.
Yeah. Perrin and Fael, they reach the south side of town, and what we find here is ridiculous. Because apparently someone in their great wisdom left the Congers and the Coplins in charge of the south entrance to town.
What idiot did that, Lord Luke?
And apparently they're under the direction of Sen Bui.
Ah, even better. I mean, Sen Bui's not that bad when he's not hanging out with Congers and Coplins.
Now, remind us, okay, this is where the old road enters town from the south.
Yes.
What do the defenses look like here? Because we know the defenses out by the woods, you know, all those stakes and stuff. And what's it look like where the road enters?
Is this not also a whole bunch of like stakes and stuff, but there's a gap for the road?
Exactly. So they've guarded the gap, and there's a couple wagons blocking the entrance. So you can't just ride on in. They'd have to move the wagons out of the way for anybody to get through.
It's a makeshift gate.
And this is where they've been guarding. And they're celebrating about having run off the Trollocs who tried to attack from this spot too. And y'all did that stuff over there, whatever. We had this and we got them and we're just as good as you guys are. And one of them is, Perrin can literally smell the brandy off his breath. So they're not just on guard. They may also be drunk on guard and
some of
full
them
of themselves.
Absolutely are, but that's okay. That just means they'll miss when they shoot at things they shouldn't.
Yes, because Perrin very quickly discerns, you idiots, those aren't Trollocs, because he looks out there. There's a stone fence a ways out from town, and peeking up over the fence now is a tinker. It's the Tuatha finally come to the village like Perrin invited.
Perrin had said, and, well, wouldn't you know, what the Tuatha thought would happen did. They got shot at.
Yeah, exactly. Reinforcing stereotypes. Hello. Perrin calls out, reassures the Tuatha. No, it's safe now. That was a mistake. The idiots are not going to shoot you now. Come on in. Sadly, what approaches is about 20 men and women of the Tuatha'an, carrying, some of them carrying some children, and they all look worse for the wear. In fact, some of them are bloody. They're
Yeah.
injured.
This is the remnant of the
Yeah.
Tuathan people.
This is it. There were a lot more of these people at the wagons, but 20 left and some kids. Now, Ran and Illa, the leaders, husband and wife, leaders of them, they're here. But I mean, they don't look very. Rain honestly looks like shell shocked. He's muttering about the way of the leaf. It's still past the way of the leaf, but he barely seems cognizant of his surroundings at this point. They're clearly at the end of their strength. Perrin welcomes them in.
It's really hard to keep preaching do no harm when you watch everyone you care about get slaughtered and eaten in front of you.
Yeah. And we don't know yet that's what happened, but yes, that's what happened. Okay. They were attacked. As Perrin welcomes them in, though, some of those Coplins and Congers and such, they start speaking about, wait. Tinkers? We can't let Tinkers into town. You know what Tinkers do. What's the reputation of Tinkers in the stereotype?
They steal your babies.
Yes. Anything that's not tied down as well. But you can't trust Tinkers.
Hey, Perrin trusts Tinkers a whole lot more than he trusts you.
Well, that's true, actually. But the Coplins and the Congers, they don't round on Perrin about this. They turn on Sen Buey because he's part of the village council. And he's like, you can't let them in, Sen. And Sen, well, he just turns to Perrin. It's like, Perrin, I mean, what they're saying is kind of what I understand. And Perrin just firmly says, really? Are you saying we should just turn them over to the Trollocs? It sounds like, well, no, I mean, of course not. I mean, we wouldn't do that to children. And then looks at the Congers and Coplins. Yeah, like Perrin says, we're letting them in. Of course we are. Yeah.
Perrin very quickly accidentally upset the entire social structure of this place.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as that's done, like that one little comment, then all the village folk are helping the Tuathan. From Rain and Illa, mostly from Illa, because Rain's kind of like, we learn, okay, the Trollocs attacked them last night.
Mm-hmm.
They had no warning, because, they have those dogs, those mastiffs that probably could have warned them, but the White Cloaks had already killed those dogs.
Which, if we didn't already have more reasons to hate the Children of the Light, they killed the dogs.
Yeah. We see Aram is one of those who have survived, one of these 20. Aram of the many times we've talked about with encounters with this group.
With the pretty eyes.
Yes. So, it's sad. So many Tuatha'an clearly are now in Trolloc cookpots. And the remainder, they've come because there's nowhere else to turn. They don't have wagons anymore. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking around beyond them, Perrin can see smoke rising in the air from various regions. Probably one of them is the wagons of the Tuatha'an, but multiple additional locations. He's like, wow, the Trollocs have been busy. Clearly, there is a large group out here, and they're everywhere. They're all over. Dang. What's next? When are they coming? Will we be able to handle it?
We'll see.
Now, what occurs as the chapter continues just baffles Perrin. Because people keep turning to him to make decisions. And he's like, these are things they don't need me for. They're asking me things that they know what to do, but they keep checking in with him. He deals with an issue with the blacksmith, an issue on how to call the shepherds in if there's an attack. The Fletcher is upset, wanting, leave me alone. I'll make the arrows. And no, he needs help to make more arrows. And Perrin settles that. And the Cooper with the barrels, there's an issue. And again, Perrin settles that. These are all common sense things where Perrin is turned to. Perrin, what do we do? Perrin, how do we solve this? And Perrin just tells them what they should know And they go, oh, yeah, that sounds good, Perrin. Thank you. Thank you. And they do it.
Yeah, Perrin's more or less making house calls for appearance in court. Attendance, that is.
And it goes on, and what the heck? It's kind of, like I said, it baffles Perrin. As he moves from spot to spot around the town, solving these little issues and questions, his bodyguards follow with that silly wolf banner. And he's really getting tired of that. But it seems he hears from them that Tam told them something about the companions in Ilion, where there were soldiers who would ride with their general and were ready to be thrown into wherever battle was hottest to defend their general, to be there right when needed. And seriously, Tam? Seriously? You did... Eventually, he shoos them off, not by just go away, but gives them orders to go guard the men who've gone back out to the tree line to continue to cut down more trees. So he gives them a mission. Oh, and that might encounter Trollocs. So yes, Perrin, we'll go do that.
An honorable task.
Yes. Now, Zach, I want to ask you,
yeah,
why would Tam know something about the Ilianer companions?
Do we know about his career at this point? We do, right?
We do. So remind us.
He previously served in a number of places, warring, soldiering, most specifically in Ilion.
Yes.
Where I can't say for certain, but I feel like he might have been one of those companions.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He knows stuff about this. So mid-morning, Lord Luke shows up, rides right into town, arrogantly showing off his latest hunting trophy. He's got a Trolloc head. Not Trolloc. Said that totally wrong. Murdrel head.
Good for you. There's 3 more over in the field.
Yeah. Puts it on a stake, sticks it right up in the center of town. Check it out. Look what
that's
I
grotesque.
did.
Literally
the townsfolk. But they're impressed. Like, wow, you killed one by yourself? He's like, yeah, I stumbled upon a band of Trollocs. I did battle. Here's my trophy.
What a load of Trolloc shit.
I do not want to know what that smells like, by the way.
No, none of us do.
No. But you know, the townsfolk aren't as impressed with Lord Luke as they used to be. Because look what we did! And they start talking about the battle they had and how Perrin Goldeneyes led them to this great success. And Lord Luke, you know, it's like, okay, someone just stole my thunder. He doesn't make a big stink out of it, but you get the impression he's like, no, you should still be, you know, in awe at what I did, but you just want to talk about what you did. So he does talk to Perrin. He said, well done, Perrin, you know, leading a battle like that. I mean, there is such a thing as beginner's luck. I mean, there are a couple things you clearly could have done different, but yeah, all right, nice job. So it's kind of like a backhanded compliment.
Sorry, Luke, you're fighting against main character syndrome and Taviran at the same time. You're not going to win.
By noon, Perrin is getting a little frazzled because this deferring to Perrin has gone on all morning long now. Perrin, what about this? Perrin, should we do this? Perrin, what do you think if I do this? Come on already. And at this point, he's like, you know, I didn't have breakfast. I haven't eaten anything. I'm hungry. I'm kind of fed up. So he just heads off to the Wine Spring Inn after one last encounter. He's got a woman who comes up to him and says, Perrin, we're thinking we need to watch the kids in someplace safe. We're thinking maybe over in that area. Would that be a good spot to take care of the kids? He's like, why are you asking me? You know this fine. She's like, yeah, you know it. And she epitomizes with her response why everybody's asking Perrin. It's like, yeah, but we just want to make sure we're doing it the way you want it. So, yeah, okay, I'll do that then. That's it.
It's like they know their jobs. They can do all the things well, but they want to do it how you want it.
That's right. So he rides off then. He's got a few more. Perrin, a moment. And he just ignores them. He's done. He's got to take a break. Getting to the Wine Spring Inn, hilarious. He walks in, Marinelle Veer's there saying, well, about time, have a seat. The village can go on without you for a while, given orders. And he's like, duh, they don't need my orders. This is internal for him.
He didn't want to give any.
She says out loud exactly what he was thinking, sits down. She's going to go get him some food. Before she comes back with food, Fail's going to come out. But while he's waiting in that initial gap, he looks around the room and he sees Aram. Aram is sitting in the common room. Now he's got a couple of the girls, the young girls from the village, kind of fawning over him.
I mean, he is
you mentioned pretty eyes, all that. But Perrin is struck by what in the heck is Aram doing here? Because do you remember what they turned the common room into?
A kind of makeshift armory. There are barrels and racks of weapons.
And Aram's looking at these with big, wide eyes, and Perrin's like, yeah, no worries. This is just we're restoring all the weapons of town. Nobody's going to hurt you with these, Aram. You're fine. And then Fail comes out, brushing the flour off her hands and stuff. She's been baking. She doesn't bake. This is new to her.
Maybe she can bake.
No, she doesn't. They have a humorous comment back and forth, a little banter. She's like, I've never done this before. This is kind of fun. And he's like, well, good. You'll need to do this. I mean, how are we going to have bread in our house? She's like, well, the servants, dummy. Just a little fun comment back and forth. But it gives us a hint of something here. Clearly, even though they're being lighthearted about it, they're talking about a future in their home.
Yeah, they do think of a future together. Now, each of those have a different picture of what that future looks like.
Yes, but they're both thinking long term. The conversation goes on where Perrin vents his frustration about all this deference, all these people turning to him for stupid little answers to things they could solve themselves. And Fail explains what she thinks is going on. They don't know, they don't remember how to deal with a queen or a king. And she points at him. He's like, what? So, oh, okay, fine. Not a king, but a leader. Okay. They haven't had any presence of Andor official here for so long. They don't know how to do this. So they're feeling their way on how to follow a leader. You, Perrin. And in fact, we get that Fail really senses, we see this through Queen Morghese is likely to make you the Lord of the Two Rivers.
Especially because that's the only way she's going to manage to ever get any taxes out of this land.
Yeah. And of course, hi, Dad. I'm dating the Lord of the Two Rivers. Sounds pretty good to Fail. But Aram interrupts their discussion at this point. He says, so who do these weapons belong to? And again, Perrin says, anybody. I mean, they're for anyone to use.
Anybody who wants them, who needs them, picks it up and it's theirs.
And Aram picks up a sword. He says, so I can use this? And Perrin practically chokes on the first bite of lunch he's finally taken at that point. Before anyone can respond to Aram's question, Alana, Sadai, and Illa come down the stairs. They've been up taking care of the wounded. And Illa, Aram's grandma, sees him holding a sword and she screams, no, Aram, no! And rushes over to him, tries to get him to put the sword down. And Aram refuses. And we learn in their quick interchange, the Trollocs killed his mother in this attack that just happened. And if he'd had a sword, he might have saved her. He's decided it's time to fight. Now, Perrin, who we know has struggled with the way of the leaf, tells Illa, leave him alone. Any man has a right to defend himself or defend those who are important to him. And Aram says, Perrin, will you teach me the sword? Perrin's like, I don't know how to use a sword.
Yeah, I don't got nothing. I just swing things real hard.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with someone who could instruct you. And Illa is like knife in the heart. Sorrow, loss comes out of her. She says, the Trollocs took my daughter last night. They took all my grandchildren but one. And now he's as lost as any of them. But when she says lost, you hear the capital L. What are we talking
Lost?
about?
You mean
there?
like the Aiel?
He's a lost one. He's turned from the way of the leaf. But when it's clear the choice has been made, and Illa there is blaming Perrin for all of this, but it is what it is, Aram swears himself to Perrin Abara. Thank you. I am your man. And Perrin sends him off to Tam. Says, tell him I sent you, train you in the sword.
If anybody's going to train you, it should be a Blade Master.
Yep. Moments later, Bran Elvir arrives with news that there's a lot of men riding in from the north. I think they're White Cloaks. Great. Perrin managed to get 2 bites of his food in. And duty calls. So he follows Bran out to join the growing crowd awaiting arrival of White Cloaks now.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, there they are, led by Dane Bornhald.
Oh, goody.
Yep. Dane steps forward, introduces himself as the captain of the Children of the Light, and seeing in this crowd of people Lord Luke, he addresses him, assuming he's in charge. Why would he assume Lord Luke's in charge?
Well, because he looks like a lord.
He also holds himself like an arrogant lord. But Bran's the one who actually speaks up. Bran Elvir is the mayor. Hello. But Dane says, okay, you got all these fortifications here, and we've been told the children are not welcome, that the town is closed to us. What's the deal? What's going on? Now, Perrin's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And he had heard about a Captain Bornhald in charge, but now he's seeing, oh, it isn't Jeffrey Bornhald.
Maybe it's his cousin, his son, his something.
Probably a relative. And of course, we know this Dane Bornhald is Jeffrey Bornhald's son.
Yes.
As Bornhald looks over the crowd, he sees Perrin and he reacts violently. Like he knows him and has a personal hatred for him. Whoa, that's not good. What's up with that? Of course, Perrin sees right next to him someone who's very familiar to him. Good old Jarrett Byar.
Another man who's had a personal hatred for him.
Yeah, and he's looking at Perrin too, and oh, the hate, the vitriol is obvious. It's oozing from him. Jarrett Byar sucks. Man, sucks so bad. He sucks lemons so bad that they're gone.
That's impressive.
It's like, I don't know. Did I make up a new insult? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it really worked, but I was just going to give it to you so that we could move past it.
Okay. So Bran speaks up saying, okay, the children aren't exactly barred from Emond's Field. It's just that we've decided we don't need you to defend us. We can defend ourselves. That's what this is about. And then others start speaking up and shouting out about, yeah, we did. We fought off Trollocs. We won a great battle.
White Cloaks.
The
we
two
don't need no
rivers.
stinking White Cloaks.
Emond's Field and Perrin Golden Eyes. Yeah, all these things. And this is not sitting real well with Dane. He dismisses their victory. Fine, you killed a few Trollocs. You have no idea what's out there. In fact, while you had your little scuffle last night, Terran Ferry was nearly wiped out by a Trolloc attack. We children lost nearly 50 good soldiers there. It was that intense.
Only 50?
Now, at this point, something interesting happens because Lord Luke pulls forward right up next to Perrin and says, Trollocs attacked Terran Ferry? Kind of like, are you sure? Really? I mean, that's what's implied. And Bornhald's like, that's what I said. And then the follow-up question is, and where was the man called Ordeath when that happened? Okay, that is a loaded question. And we know things that we're not going to talk about here, but we're pointing it out, spoiler light. The fact that Lord Luke asks about Ordeath in context with the battle at Terran Ferry, think about that.
It's sus.
Yes. Now, Dane's surprised Luke knows anything about Ordeath. And he shares, I don't know where Ordeath is. He's like missing in action. But how do you know something about Ordeath? And here's the response. I've copied this verbatim. He says, Lord Luke says, I have seen him here and there since coming to the Two Rivers. A disreputable looking man, and those who follow him no less. The sort who might have been careless enough to allow a Trolloc attack to succeed. Was he there? If so, one can hope he died for his folly. Okay, interesting.
Very.
Seems to have this considerable interest in Ordeath. But Bornhold, fine, he's had enough of this. This is not the main conversation we should be having. And he snaps at this point a demand to have Perrin turned over to him. He arrests him as a dark friend, and we're going to take him captive back to the stronghold of the White Cloaks in Amador. The best part of this interchange is Child Byar next to him, looking at him like, say what? Clearly, Bornhold just went off script.
A little bit.
This is not what Byar expected to happen. The Two Rivers men start muttering rather angrily. Remember, they were celebrating Perrin Golden Eyes, and now you called him a dark friend and want to take him?
Over our dead bodies.
Exactly. We have the makings of a clear standoff, rising quickly. Bran makes it clear there'll be no turning Perrin over to you. We don't think he's a dark friend. Where's your proof he's a dark friend? Bornhold thinks he has proof, and he lays his claims out. What's Bornhold's supposed proof, Zach?
Not only is Perrin horrible, all these golden eyes that must be related to stuff, not only has he killed White Cloaks in the past, but he is responsible for killing his dad, Jeffrey Bornhold, with a whole mess of other things, including those Tarvalin witches who were using their magic against the Children of the Light in combat.
Specifically references Falme.
Yeah, it's a whole mess of misinterpreting the Shan-Chan versus the Heroes of the Horn, and Perrin's involvement, and Jeffrey Bornhold, and the fact that Dane wasn't there.
Everything Dane got was from Jared Byar. Very slanted, skewed perspective. And Perrin speaks up at this point, says, I didn't betray anyone. I didn't do anything to the White Cloaks. That all stuff was about the Shan-Chan invading. And yeah, they used the power. That I wasn't working with Aes Sedai. What? No. This is ridiculous. Well, Bornhold, his reaction is just as clear. That's ridiculous. Lies. You're a liar, Shan-Chan. There's no Shan-Chan. That's silliness that's made up to hide what the White Tower witches have been up to. People,
well, that's one way to look at it.
Believe. Yep. Fake news. That's what he's yelling. Fake news.
Kinda, yeah.
Perrin can sense then things are amping up. His people, the people of Emond's Field, they're holding their weapons. They're getting ready to defend Perrin. The White Cloaks are clearly getting ready to act to take Perrin. He's like, there are Trollocs here.
We don't need to kill each other.
People killing people, right? So he comes up with a plan. Now he hates coming up with a plan on the fly. Perrin doesn't. Perrin's got a little Ogier in him.
Doesn't like to be hasty.
Right. He wants time to think things through. He has no time to think things through right now. But he comes up with a quick plan, and he says to Dane, all right, there are Trollocs out here. I don't even know how you made it here. I mean, look around. And he references all the fires in the various areas. There are Trollocs all around Emond's Field right now. If you leave, you probably won't make it anywhere else without getting attacked. They already attacked us once. We know they're coming again. So would you be willing to put off this arrest business until we deal with the Trollocs? We'll let you in. You help with the defense of Emond's Field. You say, you're on the side of the people against the Shadow Spawn. That's great. Mm-hmm. So we let you in. You can keep an eye on me. I'm going to be here. I clearly am not going to run away. There's Trollocs everywhere. So we deal with the Trollocs. When that's all over, then we can revisit all this. What do you say? Now, Everybody else around him is like, Perrin, this is a stupid idea. Bran's like, are you sure? Fayo's like, you idiot. Lord Luke is even, bring your enemies close, huh? Not so good. All sorts of this. But Perrin's like, I can't have people dying over something like this when there's Trollocs.
Yeah.
So in they come. Bran lays down some ground rules. There'll be no shenanigans, no hassling people. I better not see a dragon fang on anybody's door. You help us defend the town. That's it. Come on in. They go on by, staring daggers at Perrin. And Fayo leans in a little closer. This is a really bad idea.
Yeah, they might not just stare daggers at your back. They might plant one in there.
Perrin still feels he had to do it. Didn't really have a choice. But he's like, maybe those companions aren't such a bad idea.
At a bare minimum, they're witnesses.
That's the end of this chapter. Our third end of our episode.
Woohoo!
Except the spoiler room, which we'll get to into a moment. So, again, first-time readers, this is where you leave us for today. Thanks for being here. Be sure to pay attention to all the links on the ways you can connect with us. But, yeah, we'll talk to you next time. And then, it's time for the spoiler room. I got my simple little pretty one.
I found this
E20.
one.
All right, here we go. Oh, baby.
What'd you get?
18.
You're going first. I only had a 14.
That was a decent roll still, but yeah, I got the bigger one there. So, wow. Okay, there was something I wanted to talk about, and I'm going back through my notes because I'm like, what was that again? What was that thing? And it wasn't about the Timber song. That wasn't it. I'm going down. I'm going. I can't remember the words at all. That's a horrible thing.
I can tell.
Why? Can you sing it for us there?
I'm not going to.
So obviously, I could talk about Aram, and I'm tempted to talk about that
because you already have started, and if you're not, then I can. But you've already started.
It's just that there was something else, and man, I didn't take the time to write down what the other thing was that I wanted to talk about. I'm skimming my notes and I'm stalling for time, and this really sucks. I'm gonna have to talk about Aram. Okay, because I can't remember the other thing. So this is huge. This is the moment the Tinker picks up the sword. Aram. We haven't really liked Aram that much. He's a kind of a self-centered, self-absorbed Tuatha who knows he's all that, who's had his world shattered because he saw his mom killed right in front of him. He probably had siblings who were also slaughtered. And that's it. The way of the leaf, it doesn't get it done. I need something more. He picks up a sword. He is Perrin's man. But this is a mind-shattering experience for someone like this. He is shunned from this moment. The Tuatha will have nothing to do with him. And all he has is Perrin. Now, by connection, that will mean Fail as well over time. He has Perrin and Fail. They are his world. And they are a certain image in his mind of what that means. That image is going to change over time. It's going to get skewed. And Aram is going to end up badly. And he dies like a punk. It's it's a fitting death, but to be honest, it was kind of anticlimactic when he goes down at the end.
And yet, to a certain extent, I find a bit of poetic rightness in this, because
poetic rightness. You just made that one.
Well, it's not justice. It's not justice, though.
Okay,
but it is.
You made something else
right. It's proper, appropriate. Because his grandma just mourned him in this chapter. She saw him pick that up and said, he's dead, basically. And she's 100% right. Perrin's killed him. And later, Perrin will kill him.
Perrin doesn't kill him.
No, but it's his fault, kind of. I mean,
because he's about to kill
Perrin at the time,
and then he gets killed.
Yeah, Perrin gets lucky, and to me, no, Perrin kills him, even if he doesn't kill him.
What we could say now, you're just putting arrows back into Perrin, but you're saying Perrin's decision at this moment to support Aram's claim of the sword kills Aram.
Is the start and continues. Every interaction from this point is just further along the path that is Aram's death.
But we need to acknowledge that you can't put that on Perrin.
I'm not saying it's all on Perrin.
Aram made his decision.
I'm not saying it's all on Perrin. I am saying Perrin killed him.
But he didn't kill him.
He did.
Only if you take away Aram's agency.
Yeah, but you took it away when you called him a punk and was saying he was listening to Nasima already.
I didn't call him a punk. I said he went out like a punk. Like, it's a simile. I didn't call him a punk.
I don't know.
All right, that's mine. Now, before you do anything...
Okay.
The spoiler room.
Oh, hey, we're here now. I can actually
I forgot
talk.
to play that for mine, so now I played it for yours. All right, what you got?
Okay, moving that aside, let's talk about... Oh, goodness. What do I want to talk about from this chapter?
I gave you all that stalling time to figure out your stuff.
But I the whole time wanted to talk about Perrin killing Aram. So...
Oh, you were like, really? Come on, think of what you wanted, Dad. Think of what you wanted.
I was chomping at the bit. So instead...
Maybe we don't have two.
I mean, we kind of did tag team, but that's lame.
That's a cheat.
So we'll go... Here we go. We'll go a step further. Fail offhandedly is like, I don't like this. Put it back. Put it back. If you don't do it when it's you, you don't get to do it when it's me.
Nobody who's listening to audio have any idea why you said that.
But anyone who's watched the video does. So Fail offhandedly is like, when this is all over, Queen Morgaze, she'll probably make you Lord of the Two Rivers. Doesn't. Reasons. We'll get there. But Perrin does kind of self-declare to Elaine that he is going to be the Lord of the Two Rivers. And it's very much right, so you can accept this, and this is how it is, or we are our own country now. He plays hardball with the Queen.
He does.
And it may be because Taviran. It may just be because he's a stubborn Two Rivers guy. But the dude walks out of it more or less telling her how it's going to be, and she goes, okay.
And it's a good call. She's going to get tax money now.
And their support.
Yes. And
anyway.
They're pretty wicked with a bow.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good spoil. There's your backup plan. Anyway, I'm going to run our outro now. You want to say anything about all that?
If you enjoyed watching, listening, any of the above, feel free to like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you see all of the things. Leave us a review wherever you listen to us. If you want to interact with us, come join us on Discord or Twitter. Facebook and Instagram exist. We're there in some capacity. And if you want to even support us further, maybe be here live, we've got a Patreon. Whole slew of benefits there.
We'll talk to you next time.